Okay, so this is the product coding assignment. This is the brief for the assignment, and you can see that you have a task. It says create a magazine style article, but that's only really to make it sort of industry relevant and to make it a little bit funky. If you don't make a magazine style article, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to tell you off for not doing that. That just gives you a kind of a broad kind of framework really to work within. And also it's because one of the articles is a magazine article, and you can essentially reword the article and make it look the same as the article as the example. It says choose examples to include a film trailer and a film poster, and these will help you explain textual analysis essentially. There's a couple of other things down here to notice. It says outline the target audience. Outlining just really says who the target audience is. You don't have to go into too much detail in terms of the target audience. And it also says to say how the audience feedback might be gained. And similarly, that only really needs to be a very short sentence about how you might collect feedback from the audience. When you're looking at the pass merit distinction, it's very, very similar to a lot of the other written assignment work in this Unit 6. If you describe things, you get a pass. So that's a very brief outline. It might be quite a short piece of work that doesn't necessarily cover all the points, and it certainly wouldn't explain or give many examples. If your work is a merit, then it would be explaining. So the way you would do that is you would explain the topic, the specific topic within the work, and then you would give a good example, and it says an illustrative example. So each of your explanations of each topic needs to have an example to go with it. And then really the difference between merit and distinction is that the distinction criteria asks for comprehensive explanation. So really it's saying comprehensively explain all the elements. So you have to put an example and an explanation under each heading. Really, that's what we're looking for. So if any bits are left out, even if your work's really, really great, if elements are left out, then it can't be a distinction, and then you'll get a resub. There's a step-by-step to go with this, and this is in Moodle. So all these documents are in Moodle, and you can see I've just added into the step-by-step some actual steps. They're very, very simple. But essentially it points out that there are 2 PowerPoint presentations to go with it, and 2 PDF documents to go with the PowerPoints. We're going to look at a short film trailer today as well, and there's a document to go with that, how to analyse film. And then you follow this Peel method of writing paragraphs, and we looked at this, if you remember this Die Another Day poster. You can use a poster to explain what textual analysis is. So your opening paragraph would explain what textual analysis is. It would show some evidence, and then it would explain that evidence and explain why that evidence is good evidence of textual analysis. So a poster like this would be great because you've got the 3 characters in there, and you obviously got other background characters in there. There's a lot to analyse. You've got the goodie dressed in white, and you've got the baddie dressed in black. You've got the main hero looking all hero-like at the front. So there's lots to analyse in that. And then you would just go down to the next section, and either with the same poster or with a different poster, you would talk about perhaps media representation, etc. So let's have a look at this PowerPoint here. I'm hoping this is going to go full screen, and it's still going to work on the video. I'm not sure about that. Let's give it a go. Can you see that full screen? Yeah, good. So, so you really want to explain how media producers create specific products for specific audiences, and you need to make these points. So I've put these points in the PowerPoint so that you can make them yourself in your written work. So feel free to copy, i.e. reword these sentences, but it's very clear that producers construct products to appeal to a specific audience, and that audience is well defined. They've obviously done some research into that audience. The Mean Machine PDF document that we'll look at in a sec contains all of these sections, and I think it would be a very good idea for you to use all of these sections as topic paragraph headings. So you'd have an introduction, then you'd have a paragraph that might explain denotation and connotation, another one that explains technical codes. So there's a list there. There's also a list of topics in the other PowerPoint that overlap a lot. They're almost exactly the same, maybe in a slightly different order. So, but that gives you a framework to work it within. So you're looking at the denotation and connotation, and you need to clearly explain that what you see is the denotation, and then the connotation is what that might mean. But also you're explaining that that meaning might be different to different audiences. So some people might see a red rose and see passion and love, and other people might see a more sinister side to it, and they might see like blood red, that kind of thing. Got technical codes. You can bring in the film trailer into your technical codes, so because then you can talk about different shots, different angles, like extreme close-ups to show emotion in the work, maybe wide shots, extreme wide shots to show, establish where you are, that kind of thing. Different angles, and we'll see some examples of that in the film trailer I'll show you in a sec. But the using film is a very easy way of explaining technical codes, because there's a lot going on in film. Then you've got anchorage, headlines. I won't go through this whole PowerPoint because this really just gets through some of the it kind of reminds you using pictures to what to include. But you can see intertextuality, for example. It's all about just taking a scene or a picture or a setting from one product to another. So you might, in this example, it's a Nirvana album cover that The Simpsons completely recreated. In other cases, it might be a music video that's set in the same scene as a film, for example. We'll see some of those examples when you look at music video in the next few weeks. The purpose and message is really simple. That section is really about what is the literal purpose of the product. So your film poster is to promote the film, and it's to get as many people to come and watch the film as possible, and it's also there to get the message of the film, the kind of overall story, if you like, of the film across in a very succinct way, in a very similar way to this poster here. And then you've got your representation. It's the same slide as in the other PowerPoint, actually. If you want to go into a lot more detail of representation, then please do. That could be quite a large section if you wanted it to be. And in fact, have a think about this when you're writing about representation in the film, that this could expand out into your final assignment. If you choose the same film for your final assignment, essentially you'll be making you'll be analysing a film for your final assignment. So representation might be quite a big part of that, and it will link nicely if you've already done some work on it in this assignment. Okay, so the next thing to do would be to choose a film trailer. So in the film trailer, you're going to be talking about the sound, the music, and how that affects what is going on, and how people feel about what's going on in the film, how it makes you feel, how it builds suspense or tension. The mise-en-scene, which would be all the scenery, the props, costumes, the setting, how that makes you feel, how that makes the audience feel, and what message that gives. The shots and editing, which you can include in the technical codes, and the lighting and colour. So you're going to have some additional sections to your work that briefly outline some examples of these elements from a from a film. Let's see if I can. I'm trying to do this without stopping my video recording. Good. So that's worked out from there. And here's the Mean Machine document here, and you can see that this is a very simple, quite short, but very well written article. It's not letting me scroll up very smoothly. I think my computer's suffering slightly. But this has all the elements in it that you need to talk about. And it's, like I say, it's very well written, and you could think about your assignment as being a kind of a rewrite of this article. So think of it as being that, and you won't go far wrong. So you're rewriting this article, but with a different film poster. So you can think of it very much like that. And this finally finishes on, if I can get down there, it finishes on an analysis, real brief analysis of the film poster to give you really good examples within the poster. So have a good read of that. I'm just going to show you this. This is the film trailer. You should hear some sound on this as well, hopefully.
During afternoon tea, there's a shift in the air, a bone-trembling chill that tells you she's there. There are those who believe the whole town is cursed, but the house in the marsh is by far the worst. What she wants is unknown, but she always comes back. The spectre of darkness. The woman in black.
Goodness, that was scary. So what you can talk about in this film trailer is, obviously I'll remind you about that, it's the sound, the music, the props, the voices, the shots, the lighting, the scenery, all of those elements. It really only needs to be a short example. You don't need to write an awful lot in terms of, it doesn't have to be a separate piece of work for the film trailer, but essentially you're using the film trailer to include all of those other elements that you wouldn't find in a film poster. So I'm going to stop the video